So it is Sunday, the 30th of April, 2017. I was talking about my unsafe sect picket sign slogan that a woman leaving the Unitarian Church in Montreal laughed at when she saw it and said it was comical. And I was pointing out how, well, yes, it's intended to be, wryly humorous, as it were. It's definitely a pun. It's a play on the term safe sex, and it's obviously suggesting, that Unitarian Universalism is unsafe in a way that includes clergy sexual misconduct, also known as clergy sexual abuse. So yes, it hints at clergy sexual abuse of Unitarian Universalist ministers, but as I was pointing out, that's not the only way in which Unitarian Universalism is unsafe. There's the whole issue of the anti-religious intolerance and bigotry of many atheist Unitarian Universalists, which make many Unitarian Universalist congregations less than entirely safe for God-believing people in general and Christians in particular. Okay, we got some wind here, so I may have to put away the freestanding picket signs because it's getting blown around a bit too much. We'll try again, but if they get blown around too much, I'm going to have to put them away. For now, we'll just put them back up. Anyway, as I said, there's various ways in which Unitarian Universalism is not safe. It's not just the whole clergy sexual misconduct problem. There's non-sexual clergy misconduct, verbal and psychological abuse and other such misconduct by Unitarian Universalist ministers, which is not of a sexual nature. There is the anti-religious intolerance and bigotry that I spoke of, which was the original motivation for this protest. But let's talk about recent issues. Just within the last 2 months, the whole issue of racism within the Unitarian Universalist religious community has come, bubbling up to the surface. I mean, it's always been there, but in the last 2 months, March, April, this bubbled up to the surface as a result of a Unitarian Universalist Association trustee, Christina Rivera, being passed over for a job as, I believe, a district executive of the southern region of the Unitarian Universalist Association. She essentially accused the Unitarian Universalist Association of racism. I think it was probably more classism and elitism, which is another way that Unitarian Universalism is not so safe for anyone who's not like a upper middle class university educated person. But anyway, getting back to the whole racism thing, since this broke the surface within the last 2 months or so, there have been a fair number of people speaking out about how people of color have been actually very badly treated by Unitarian Universalists. That basically there's a whole bunch of accusations coming out now about, essentially a lot of people of color, Latinos, African Americans, etc., you name it, whatever, if they're not white, that they've been badly treated by Unitarian Universalists at various different Unitarian Universalist churches. Now, I don't know how bad the racism gets, but I've actually seen evidence of racism right here at the Unitarian Church of Montreal in the past. Anti-black racism on the part of the choir master here. I haven't seen it myself, but this is basically, I was told about it by Good Day. Yeah, it's quite the funny picket sign. So this guy's smiling at the picket sign. Don't know if he's a Unitarian Universalist, but he certainly saw the humor in unsafe sect. Anyway, getting back to things, getting back to how Unitarian Universalism is indeed an unsafe sect. There's the whole issue of how apparently people of color feel less than safe within the Unitarian Universalist religious community. And they're even using the term white supremacy to describe racism within the Unitarian Universalist religious community, which is kind of ironic, because when you hear the term white supremacy, you tend to think more of the KKK than the UUA. The Ramones wrote a song called "The KKK Took My Baby Away." They didn't write a song called "The UUA Took My Baby Away." Maybe they should have. But no, I'm being sarcastic here. Unitarian Universalists don't go around burning crosses on people's lawns and so on. But nonetheless, it does appear, based on what people are saying anyway, that there's quite a lot of racism within the Unitarian Universalist religious community. Now, knowing what I know about the Unitarian Universalist religious community, I'm not in any way dismissing that, but I think there is some possible confusion in terms of mistreatment. The mistreatment of people may actually have more to do with class issues than race issues. It may be more that, the person's...
A great lunch in there.
I'm missing a great lunch in there? Oh dear, I'm missing a great lunch. What a terrible thing I'm missing. I'm missing a lot. Oh, what else am I missing? Oh, really? If you cared about me, you'd do something about this. You wouldn't ignore this protest. You would speak out against the issues that I'm protesting. You don't care about me at all. You cared, what?
People do, and we did care about
Oh, that's bullshit. That is bullshit. You didn't write any petition or anything. You never spoke.
Here at that time.
Oh, you weren't here at that time. Okay, well, you say you care, but you know what? Your whole attitude says you don't care. If you really cared, you would demand that they fix the problem. I'm out here for a reason.
There's nobody here that does that.
You're wrong.
It doesn't happen in any congregation.
No. Excuse me.
I haven't got time.
No, you haven't got time. Of course, that's your whole problem. Nobody has time to deal with the injustices and abuses and hypocrisy that I'm protesting here. You've always got some excuse to do nothing. So keep doing nothing and I'll keep protesting. That's how it works. So, I'm getting a nod here from the guy across the... So anyway, this woman, first of all, she's claiming that, she wasn't a member of the Unitarian Church in Montreal back when my protest first began, which may well be true. But she's a long-time member. She's been here for quite a long time, on and off anyways. So I'm not even sure if that's true, but assuming it is, it doesn't matter. Let's say she became a member 10 years after my protest began. Let's say she became a member in 2008, 2009, 2010. So about a decade ago, a little under a decade ago. Well, I'm protesting serious issues. And it doesn't matter if you're a newcomer to the church, your church has some problems. And, the issues that I'm protesting aren't just limited to the Unitarian Church of Montreal. This is one of the reasons, that some of the people dismiss the protest, is because some of the issues basically may not be issues that are happened, right here at the Unitarian Church of Montreal. It may be that there's no pedophile rapist who's ever, been a member of the Unitarian Church of Montreal or minister of the Unitarian Church of Montreal. that doesn't change the fact that there are pedophile rapists within the Unitarian Universalist religious community, and the Unitarian Universalist Association is guilty of misusing Canada's blasphemy law and legal bullying intended to hide the pedophilia and rape and so on. This is an issue that should be of concern to this woman and every other member of the Unitarian Church of Montreal. Just because it didn't happen here at the Unitarian Church of Montreal doesn't mean it's not a problem you should be concerned with. You know, this is your top-level international religious leaders misusing Canada's blasphemy law in legal bullying intended to hide rape and pedophilia. This is something Montreal Unitarians should be concerned about. Maybe the pedophilia and rape didn't happen here. Maybe the Unitarian Church of Montreal didn't hire Stikeman Elliott Barristers and Solicitors litigation lawyer, Maitre Marc-André Coulombe, to misuse Canada's blasphemy law in legal bullying intended to cover up and deny pedophilia and rape, as these two picket signs together protest against. But as Canadian Unitarians, strictly speaking, they should be appalled, outright appalled and outraged by this immoral and unethical and borderline criminal and, quite frankly, batshit crazy attempted misuse of Canada's blasphemy law by the Unitarian Universalist religious community. The Unitarian Universalist Association, also known as the UUA, is, you know, the head office of Unitarian Universalism in North America. It's the Vatican, if you wish, of Unitarian Universalism, not just in North America, but the world. It's basically, while it's primarily an American institution, it nonetheless represents Unitarian Universalism throughout the world. You know, Canadian Unitarians may, on paper, be independent of the UUA, although in a lot of ways they're not really. British Unitarians may be, on paper, completely independent of the Unitarian Universalist Association, and so on. But nonetheless, you know, when people want to know what Unitarian Universalism is all about, they look to the UUA for that. You know, so when the UUA says something, it represents the Unitarian Universalist religious community very much as a whole, and certainly very much in terms of not just the United States, but to some extent Canada. And even if it didn't, even if it did not in any way represent Canada, the fact that it you know, misused or tried to misuse Canada's blasphemy law is something that all Canadian Unitarian Universalists should be concerned about, to say the very least. As I said, you know, strictly speaking, if they bothered to check the facts and check their principles and so on, they should be outraged. They should be appalled. They should be disgusted. But no, oh no, it's not my problem. Oh, I don't have time for this. You know, there's all kinds of excuses for Montreal Unitarians and Canadian Unitarians to do absolutely nothing to speak out against the Unitarian Universalist Association's misuse of blasphemy law. And then bringing it back to the Unitarian Church of Montreal, well, no, there are local issues, there are local problems that I'm protesting, you know. So it's just ridiculous for Montreal Unitarians to try to pretend that they care about me when they do fuck all to resolve the conflict. You know, if they really cared, they would do something to at least initiate dialogue. There's more signs over there on the other side. And there's some chalk slogans on the sidewalk. So this woman is sort of looking blankly at my picket signs. So she's not a Montreal Unitarian that I know of. I'm pretty sure she's probably one of the people from Toronto. I know that there's a Toronto choir here today. So she may be oblivious to the issues that I'm protesting against. She's going to have a look at the chalk slogan, which says exactly the same thing that this one says, which is that Unitarians cover up clergy abuse. So she's looking at the, or was looking at the same slogan down the other end there. She's walking away now, but she was looking at it. So anyhow, yes, the Unitarians cover up clergy abuse. Well, yes, they do. And they're actually pretty successful at it, because considering how many hundreds of cases of Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse, indeed thousands of cases really, there are, you know, how many of these are known to the public? You know, how many are known even to Unitarian Universalists? Well, not that many, because the Unitarian Universalist Association and the various implicated Unitarian Universalist churches do in fact go to considerable lengths to cover up and outright deny clergy abuse. So you know, for every case of clergy abuse that's known, there are dozens that aren't known because they're kept hidden. And also, you know, even, okay, here's a guy looking at the slogan. He came out of the church, he's looking back at the slogan, and he's walking away. Got a guy here, so anyhow,